Yes, with Trevor. Yes, it was great.
Yes, yes.
Yes, he seems very interested.
Yeah, very keen. So he's coming to the foundation to have the discussion.
He went there. I told him no, Ajahn wouldn't be there, and but I think because he's staying with his partner's relatives, it's easier for him to go to the foundation to join. So, and he'd been once before when we were there, so he knew his way. So, and I'm sure Kun Em and everyone looked after him. He's just there. He goes to Bangkok every summer because his partner is Thai and they stay with his family. So they go every summer. So it's convenient for him. Yes.
Good. He asked good questions and very relevant.
And he's been reading and listening quite a lot, even though he'd only joined one discussion before. He'd been reading through survey and listening to a lot of recordings and asking questions on DSG. So considering carefully, yes.
Recording in progress.
Okay, let's see. Ajahn is here. You there, Ajahn?
Yes, สวัสดีค่ะ everyone.
สวัสดีค่ะท่านอาจารย์
Ajahn.
สวัสดีครับท่านอาจารย์สวัสดีครับ
Dạ, cả nhà cho con hỏi có ai có câu hỏi muốn đưa ra cho Ajahn và ông bà Chungsara không ạ?
Tâm ơi, ai hỏi chị Lan hỏi Tâm.
Dạ, em mời chị. Em mời chị nói đi ạ.
Chị có gửi câu hỏi lên đấy Tâm.
Vậy ạ.
Chị sẽ đọc câu hỏi. Dạ thưa Ajahn, thưa ông bà Chonsara, trong đoạn nói về nghiên cứu tam tạng, trong chú giải bộ pháp tụ có nói rằng hãy nghiên cứu theo cách chúng ta bắt một con rắn, hãy nghiên cứu nhằm mục đích giải thoát và hãy nghiên cứu như công việc của người thủ quỹ. Con xin được nghe Ajahn và ông bà giảng rộng chỗ này ạ. Vì con cũng có nhiều lúc lúng túng trong việc nghiên cứu các tạng kinh. Nghiên cứu nhiều thì dễ đi vào xa rời pháp thực tại, mà không nghiên cứu kinh tạng, chỉ chấp nhận những gì được nghe và học, thì con thấy mình lãng phí những nguồn sách, những nguồn kinh mà mình có được. Xin Ajahn và ông bà Chonsara chỉ dạy thêm cách nghiên cứu kinh điển thế nào sẽ có hiệu quả tốt ạ. Dạ.
Dạ, rồi cảm ơn chị. Em sẽ dịch nhưng mà em sẽ đổi cái trật tự câu hỏi của chị một chút để dễ theo dõi hơn ạ.
Cảm ơn em.
Dạ. Okay, so I will translate her question. It's a little long, and she put it on the meeting chat as well. So she said that I sometimes have confusion regarding the way to study the suttas. Study a lot makes me easily divert from the realities. And if I don't study, just accept whatever is heard, then I think I might also miss a lot of the good resources coming from the suttas. And in the Attasalini, I read that it says, study in the way we catch a snake. Listen in order for the purpose of liberation, and listen as the work of a cashier. So please help me to explain this part, the meaning of this part. And I also would like you to tell me about the way to study the scriptures efficiently. Thank you.
Way to study. I've missed your last word. The what?
The scriptures
Scriptures.
efficiently. Yeah.
Yes, as it says in the commentary to the simile of the snake, if one reads all the suttas without right understanding, then one takes the people and the places for existing. So everything is read with the idea of atta, of self. And if one reads a lot of Abhidhamma, just learning and memorizing the details, then one can go crazy because it's just memorizing book knowledge. It's not true study. So the true study and the purpose of study is just for understanding now, understanding now, Dhamma now as anatta, not self, not anyone, not anything. And the Buddha said again and again in the suttas, better to read and consider one line well with good understanding than to read all the texts but no understanding at all. The point is not to become an expert that knows every sutta and memorizes all the details. This is not true study. True study is the understanding right now. If we haven't heard what the Buddha taught, if we hadn't heard about different dhammas, different dhatus now, then there's no way just by our own thinking to come to the truth. So there has to be the hearing, the reading, but what's important is the very careful considering of what is heard and what is read. And if one looks to a good friend to say how to study, how many suttas to read, how much to listen, this shows no understanding because it's like saying, what should I do? Should I read more? Should I listen more? Or should I go about my daily life and not read so much? So it's all about I, not understanding dhammas. So the point of all the scriptures is for the purpose of understanding dhammas, because only this understanding leads to liberation. And it has to be now. It has to be the understanding, the wise considering now, because there is no other moment. So no need to think, should I read more? Should I read less? Because then it just becomes the story about me, not the understanding of dhammas appearing. And I'm sure Ajahn will have more to add on this point because it's an important topic.
The purpose of listening to the teachings of the Buddha is quite to be truthful to the truth. Because if one just study to understand, I understand, always I, bigger and bigger and bigger, that's not the purpose of understanding the truth. That's why be truthful to the truth and the purpose of the teachings of the Buddha to let go all kinds of wrong view and akusala. And who knows how much akusala is there in a moment, just in a moment. And how many moments are there in split seconds? That's why without understanding the purpose of reading, just to understand and to let go all kinds, not only one kind of akusala, all kinds of akusala, by understanding the danger of ignorance and clinging to that which is not anyone at all, just there and then gone. That's why learn to be the dust rag it can clean anything very dirty in mind out or away. That's why just learn to understand the truth that no one there at all, even the one who is so bad by accumulation, not this person or that person. It conditioned the kindness and compassion and be good or being too ready to help anyone to understand the truth. Because without hearing, considering about the absolute truth, how can there be the understanding of actually in life? It's just that which is conditioned to arise and falls away all the time, differently by conditions, and then gone, not there anymore. Each moment from birth, it's go on, roll on to death, and then on again and on again. Understanding that it's not anyone at all. It's just the way Dhamma is. We'll let go the clinging and akusla. That should be the point of listening to the truth, to let go the idea of self, the ego, and the I and everything, which has been accumulated so long. It's so very, very difficult to clean it or to have it less, even just by hearing, considering, until it's there, appearing as object of no clinging, because no one clings to that which is there only very shortly and then gone. That's why being truthful to the truth, that's all, no one at all. We just live only in this moment, who knows next moment. So what is there? No I, no pride, no prejudice, nothing at all. It's gone, all gone, all gone. And again, no understanding again, lots of akusala again. So very dirty, very ugly thing. Understand the danger of what is there now, until it appears as it's just that which is conditioned to arise, uncontrollable, on and on and on. That's all. Anantara Pachya and Samanantara Pachya. No one can be hurt or harmed by right understanding at all. Through deeds and speech and mind, just ready to help, ready to forgive, and ready to forget the others. Akusla. So, is that very peaceful in life? Not disturbed, no rubbish collected. And it cannot be as one wish, no akusla, because it's the I who wish to have no akusla. But the understanding itself, only understanding the truth, is letting go, clean up dirtiness in mind, ignorance, gradually, so long before it can be ultimately gone, never to arise again. But that is the way to develop, to see the danger of akusla and to see the benefit of kusla. Because just a moment of akusla is not the time for any akusla to arise. That's why it begins with satta, cetasika, that which is clean, clear. The akusala cannot arise there at all because it's so clean that nothing can be dirty together, to arise together at all. Little by little, it's by conditions. Understanding makes its way. Ignorance also makes its way. No one at all. Only realities, different kinds, performing different functions at different moments. That's all. So now it's good time to understand the truth, and right understanding works its way. So secretly, unknowingly, very gradually, until it's time that there is the understanding of what we have learned. Who knows when will it be, that very moment? And now it's the condition to be that moment, even it's not now. But it begins, it develops again and again and again with patience, khanti and virya and sattva and nekama from moment to moment. Otherwise, live just to die or live to understand the truth before death and so on.
And as we know in one sutta, the Buddha taught about the 3 ways of study. There can be study for the oneself, for getting a result for oneself. There can be study for the opinion of the world, for one's reputation, for the benefit of society. And there can be study, understanding just for the sake of understanding. So only the 3rd way is the true way, understanding just for the sake of understanding. When it is so that I get the point and I'm not distracted from reality and so on, it seems like it's more for oneself. So this is not the true study. When it's a true study, even if one's reading and one's daydreaming about other things, or there's clinging, these are all just dhammas that are conditioned. There can be understanding anytime, even if one's not studying, even if one's cooking or going to the market. There's going to be daydreaming, there's going to be clinging, there's going to be ignorance. They're all dhammas arising and passing away by conditions. So the point is not to try to avoid distractions and daydreamings, but to just for the study of Dhamma as it is, no matter reading or not reading. So true study is always now just for the sake of understanding, not for me, not so I have a purer life, not so I have less distractions and less clinging to sense objects. It's just for the sake of understanding what is conditioned already. There's no other way for there to be the gradual letting go of I, of atta.
Xuân Lan không biết là có suy nghĩ gì sau các chia sẻ của Achan và bà Sarah không ạ?
Chị khúc đầu thì chị quên chuyển qua cái chế độ nghe dịch, thì chị có nghe được một đoạn. Nhưng mà chị không biết ý kiến gì hơn. Tự vì đối với chị, và chị nghĩ đây cũng là một cái vấn đề mà rất là khó hiểu, nên chị sẽ nghe lại nữa. Tâm.
Dạ vâng. So I just asked whether Miss Xuân Lan has something to say after what Achan and Sarah had shared. And she said that because she missed the first part of the translation, and it is a very subtle topic, so she will need to listen more in order to have a better understanding of what was being said.
I think in the first part, I was stressing that study is not the book study as we think of it, how many suttas we have read, or how much detail in the Abhidhamma we have learned or memorized, because the Buddha stressed that one line properly considered and understood is more precious than all the text, all the detail not understood at all. And in the commentary to the simile of the snake, it's stressed that all the suttas can be read in the wrong way with the idea of self, this person, this place, that place and place. One can be an expert in sutta knowledge, but without any study of the truth, of the main point about dhammas as anatta. And if one just studies and memorizes all the detail in the Abhidhamma without understanding, one just becomes a little bit crazy in the end with all these details and names and numbers in one's head, but no understanding of the reality now. So this true study has to be now, what appears now, from what one has heard, what one has read. What is now? What is the Dhamma now? All the study, all the book knowledge is just for the purpose of letting go of the idea of I now, utter now, something, someone, somewhere now.
Thanks, Sarah.
It took me a long time to understand the meaning of true study as the Buddha taught it. Whenever I heard the word study, I immediately thought of university studies, school study, book study, but it's not the study we're used to. It's the understanding of Dhamma now, no matter whether one is reading a sutta, or cooking, or talking to one's friends, or daydreaming. The study is understanding of reality, what appears at this moment. And only the Buddha can teach this.
That cannot be made to arise. No way to set it up.
Yes, not under anyone's control. Without understanding Dhamma now, there's no way to appreciate that it's conditioned. Not my seeing, not my hearing now, just seeing which arises, sees its object by conditions, falls away instantly.
Dạ vừa rồi là cô Sarah đã nói thê lại một chút phần trước cô đã nói cho chị Lan có thể nghe lại. Không biết là sau khi nghe xong thì chị có suy nghĩ như thế nào, thì chị cứ chia sẻ đoạn nào chưa rõ, ý nào chị cảm thấy nó còn phân vân thì chị cứ cho biết để được nghe các vị giải thích thêm ạ.
Dạ thưa cô Sarah, trước khi con vô Pháp Đàm thì con có một khoảng thời gian con cũng nghiên cứu về vi diệu pháp, nhưng thời gian mà khi con đã nghe Pháp Đàm và con hiểu được giá trị của việc hiểu về pháp thực tại thì hầu như là con rất ít, con có xu hướng là ít đọc sách lại, nhưng mà có những lúc con suy nghĩ những kinh sách mà Đức Phật đã để lại thì rất là giá trị. Như vậy thì nếu như mà mình dựa vào những cái gì mà mình được học về pháp thực tại và mình đọc trong những cái sách đó thì mình cũng trên cái tinh thần là hiểu pháp về do duyên sanh, thì mình sẽ hiểu thêm được những cái gì mà trong tạng kinh, trong tạng vi diệu pháp mà Đức Phật đã để lại. Thì như vậy mình không lãng phí cái giá trị của giáo pháp ạ. Thì con nghĩ như vậy nên con có lúng túng ở chỗ đó.
I think basically she just explained a little bit more about what her original question was. So she said that before she listened to the discussion with Achan and you, she used to study the Abhidhamma in the books, like the way most people study the Abhidhamma. After listening to what you share, she tends to read less of the text. But then she made the reflection that there's so much treasure in the text, in the scripture, and if she just skips it in order to just know the reality or listen about what is said about the realities. It seemed for her to be a little bit of a waste of resources.
So it's still thinking about I and what is best for me to do. It's not the study of Dhamma now, because no matter whether one is reading the detail in the Abhidhamma or listening to the discussion or going to the market, there is still seeing, there's still hearing, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling. Everything we have read in the Abhidhamma text is not for book knowledge, but it's daily life. It's now what we read about, the different chittas arising and falling away, one after the other, by an antrapachya. It's now, it's right at this moment to understand that seeing now falls away instantly, conditioned by the chitta before and ready and conditioning the next one, not I who can see or who can stop seeing. So what we read is just for understanding. So study doesn't mean how many suttas or how much Abhidhamma Tipitaka I have read. It means what about the understanding now? Because what was the purpose of all the book study if there is no understanding now? Not by trying, but naturally. So the listening, the reading, the considering is just for understanding at this moment, not for I to get a certain result. So for myself, I don't think about how much I'm going to study in the text today or whether it's better to study more or less, because each moment is conditioned. One may plan to spend an hour reading some details in the Abhidhamma to answer a question, for example, but then one is interrupted and one has to prepare the lunch, or one has a visitor, or anything can happen. But seeing is seeing, hearing is hearing. Study can be any time. And that's the way that confidence develops and how the study becomes firmer. Otherwise, one's trying to set rules, trying to decide how much is better, how much is worse, which way will have more kusala, but this is not the study of dhammas. It's actually the study of I and my life and what will bring me more understanding.
Thank you, Sarah. Always very useful to hear that.
So I think the more true study now, the less there is thinking about how to, or how would it be better, or how much, or how little, or where should I go. More confidence that each Dhamma now is conditioned.
Thank you, Sarah. Con thấy đây là một cái phần trả lời mà rất là giá trị đối với con ạ. Mặc dù là con của một phần nào đó là đã có hiểu và đã có hiểu về giá trị của việc hiểu về pháp thực tại, nhưng mà trong cái cách hiểu thì nó cũng có lúc như thế này, và có những lúc con cũng không hiểu nên nó cũng rất là lúng túng nhưng mà qua cái câu hỏi này, cô Sarah và Achan đã chỉ ra cho con thấy cái chỗ mà sai con thấy rất là giá trị con cảm ơn Achan và con cảm ơn cô Sarah.
What you said is very valuable to me. I think somehow listening to all the discussion, I got the point. But on the other hand, sometimes I also have different ideas that come to mind. But through your answers, I can understand that where I got it wrong. So it's really very worthy to me to have listened to your answer. Thank you.
Because if the understanding is not firm enough, the confidence is not firm enough, and there are about to be doubts, and then one hears another teacher say one should learn more details in the text or read more suttas. So then there is doubt and thinking about what I should do. So the understanding develops from the right study, the study of the truth now, until it becomes firmer and firmer, and then no question about what should I do or how should I study the texts, or how can I understand it more in daily life, or what can I do in this situation, because there's more and more confidence that whatever arises now is by conditions. No I to do anything, no I to decide anything, no I to choose. We think I choose how much of the Abhidhamma to read, but each moment of thinking, each moment of seeing, each moment of touching the hardness of the page is conditioned. No I that can choose or decide anything at all in reality.
Yes. Achan, earlier you said that the understanding develops secretly. That is something we heard. So by saying that, do you mean that when understanding is being developed, we don't necessarily know that it's being developed? It's not something that can be easily known. Or what do you mean by that? Can you please elaborate more? Thank you, Achan.
Is now enough understanding of what is there appearing?
Of course, it's not enough.
That's why we learn to understand each word, to understand deeper and more subtle. Because right now, it is not as it is appearing. For example, right now, seeing does not arise and falls away at all. It's there. But the truth is not like that. That's why learn to understand each word, because Buddha taught for 45 years to anyone who become to realize it's not enough to understand a little more of the truth of the word in Tipitaka and also in Athasalini and any book on the truth of what is there. So what are the words of truth in Athasalini? Where is it? See, where is it? It's so close. Right now it's there. Not enough understanding to understand the moment when it's there. For example, hardness appearing. No understanding of hardness at all. Would you like to translate or no need?
It's already translated, Achan. Just keep going. Thank you.
See, that's why never enough. That's why even just one word like Anantarapatya and Samanantarapatya, what for? To understand it again a little more, again a little more, because it's there now. It doesn't mean that as soon as we heard, it appears as it is. Impossible. But the collection, the development of conditions to understand, letting go, very, very subtlety, very, very so subtle that no one knows how much right understanding of seeing or that which is seen or hardness or that which experiences develops.
No. I'll do the same as you.
Vera, I think your microphone. Yes, Achan.
Sorry, I have a new mic system. I'm not quite used to it. Sorry about that.
So it's now, who knows how much understanding of the seeing And if we don't talk about it at all, about any word Buddha taught in Tipitaka, in Sutta, in Abhidhamma, how can there be a moment of understanding a little more subtle reality, which does not appear as it now arises in false way and conditioned by different conditions, not only one condition, and so on. See, that's why just learning and understanding develops its way, its own way from the first round of the Ariya Satya, understanding that without understanding right now, it's impossible to develop, to understand the truth stage by stage, listening, considering, and be Dhammadara, never forget. As soon as we talk about seeing, it's not the understanding of seeing it, but it's moment of not to forget what is there sees now, a reality. And we talk about the conditions for its arising, to let go the clinging, which is so very subtle. It's not suddenly there, but it develops more and more understanding of conditions, reality that is so short. So when time comes to some events, pleasant or unpleasant, there can be moment of understanding, even writing, listening to very pleasant music in the concert somewhere. There can be moment of attending to the characteristic of a reality and understanding that it's different from moment of just be pleased to listen on and on and on, not interrupted by any thought or idea at all about what is there. That's why right understanding develops from understanding a little more of the truth of what Buddha taught, to let go, the clinging to what is there right seeing. How many words about seeing? And they seeing right now until it's there. Understanding the characteristics unexpectedly about the reality which experiences the object. It's now all there, but not yet the moment to realize the truth, because right understanding is not sharp enough, it's not keen enough. That's why it needs more and more letting go, the clinging to that at moment of listening, to the nature of that, which is there, little by little, firm confidence of the truth of it. See, we say easily, it's gone. Seeing is gone. It's the object which is seen is gone. But that's only the idea and thinking about it, not enough to let go. The idea of seeing as it's just appear as it is to be known of its characteristic, no other characteristic at all. That's why we can read that Athasalini, and what is said in Athasalini, there can be a little more considering about the truth by different manners, different aspects, until it's so firm, Dhammadara, of what is said. Or words in the Tipitaka and in Athasalini, or any book about the truth, the text. Just talk about what is there right now, so close. The Dhamma, all Dhammas in Tipitaka are there, here, all the time, different by conditions. And no expectation that how much understanding of the truth right now, but from word to word, from moment to moment, it is developed little bit. It's developing little by little in its own way, understanding a little more, begin to attain, not clear yet in the beginning, but it's different from moment when there's no attention to what is there at all. For example, seeing all day is not attended as just a reality that experiences what is there in a day, each moment. That's why these words just develop confidence to be firmer and firmer and firmer. The truth is here, not far away, anytime, dependent on conditions, whether it's enough to begin again to attend, how much attention, depending on conditions. No wishes to have it a little more, some more. It can be long or short by conditions. And any kind of reality shows up to be in that very moment, depending on understanding, whether how much understanding of what is there, popping and gone. So we can consider more understanding of the truth in the book, any word about anything, like Paccaya, Anantara Paccaya, Upanishya Paccaya, or Ayatana or Dhatu, just to have a little more confidence of what is there is so very short, beyond expectation how short it is, instantly all the time, different ones. And the end of life will come for sure any time. See, what are were there in this life gone, never to arise again, never to be remembered, never to be important. The name, the wealth, whatever is there, it does not belong to anyone at all, just arises and falls away, on and on, in samsara non-stop, until there's no more conditions to arise. That cannot arise. The end of the arising of sankhara, Dhamma, the end of dukkha. But when it's not realized, it's not dukkha. Seeing is there with pleasant feeling or different feeling after seeing, take it for something, with different kinds of realities, cetasikas, conditioned in different conditioned manners. See, just live to understand or to die or to see, no one there at all. Is it true? Just having more and more confidence of the truth until it is Satya Dhamma, Ariya Satya Dhamma. Is known as it's true, as it's so true. Not there anymore now, always now, not there anymore, until it appears to be object of realization of its nature, no doubt anymore. But it becomes less and less, little by little, at moment of understanding, even at different stages. So now, so natural, right? Understanding is moment of understanding. Seeing is moment of seeing. Hearing, thinking is a moment of hearing and thinking. Just hear it again, consider it again, not forgetting it again, that's all. Is it right? So we can talk about the deep meaning of what is there in Athasalini or the word in Sutta or Abhidhamma, to condition moment of sharp and keen understanding, to be able to understand the truth no matter when all conditions develops to the degree that it can understanding the truth at that stage, on and on, until the end of samsara. All depends on condition, and the best of our realities is right understanding. It can understand when it develops, not just by no hearing, no considering at all. That's why the most precious moment is moment of understanding. Again, even so very little at a time, again and again. So now, when you read Antasalini and have doubt, no understanding, what about? What is it about?
And I just read the note that you put up, so about your particular question. I just looked at the text, and I think you're asking about the 3 ways of teaching or studying that is referred to. And the first one is given is in the manner of the snake simile, and it refers to the one who studies the Buddha's word for getting something, for getting robes and other requisites, or for becoming widely known. So it was a bit like in the example I gave, one who learns for the sake of fame and gain, to become a well-known teacher or to get particular results. This is study that is in the way of the snake simile, the wrong grasp, like grasping the snake in the wrong way. And it says better than such a kind of study would be for him to sleep and not study at all. So if it's just for oneself and getting what one would like for myself, there's no use in this kind of study. And the second kind, which is for the sake of crossing over, the first one is alagada pariyati in Pali. Alagada is snake. And the second one is nitarana pariyati, for the sake of crossing over. This is the one who studies the teachings, the Buddha's words, and develops sila and kusala samadhi, and develops satipatthana, vipassana jnana, and the studying is for the sake of crossing over, for the sake of developing understanding on and on, not for getting gains for oneself. And the third one, which you referred to in your question, is studying in the treasurer's position, bandha garika pariyati. Bandha garika is like the treasurer or the storekeeper. And this is referring to the arahat, the one who is kinasava, no more asava, no more defilements, studying like a treasurer. There is nothing undeveloped, nothing unrealized. All the work has been done and the defilements have all been eradicated. So it's like the one that is studying as a keeper of the teachings, as a preserver of the teachings. So when we pay respect to the Sangha, it is to those who have become enlightened and share or teach what has been known or heard. So they are the guardians of the tradition. So this is the third kind that is referred to. So I think that was what you were talking about.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. And why is it compared, the arahata is compared to the treasurer?
Because the treasurer is the one that looks after the treasure, that preserves the treasure, makes sure nothing is lost. And in the same way, the arahat is the one that preserves the teachings, that ensures that the counsels, the proper teachings are taught, and passes down what we know of as the canon, the Buddha's teachings. Without the arahats who pass down and preserve the teachings, we wouldn't be able to hear the Buddha's words today without Sariputta and Ananda and all the other great arahats. They were the treasurers who looked after and preserved the great teachings and added the commentaries to them.
Can you give the Pali word for the third kind?
Yes, the third one, I'll put it in the note as well, because it's a little difficult, the names. The third one is Bandha Garika Pariyati. The first Alagada Pariyati, the studies in the way of the snake. The next Nitarana Pariyati, studies for crossing over. And the third one, Bandha Garika Pariyati. So Bandha is like binding or holding, I think. So like the one that holds the wealth. I'll put them in the note.
And I think as a general answer to the question about studying, I would say that if one is studying out of an interest in coming to a deeper understanding of the teachings, because one appreciates the wisdom of the Buddha, then there can be no harm in that. It cannot be a wrong way of study. Any other way of study, such as for personal gain or for appearances and that sort of thing, is going to be wrong, is going to be not the correct way of study. And we have to remember that we're talking about moment-to-moment realities here. So a person is neither one kind nor the other. All we know is we're not capable of the study of the Arahant. But even so, it can be for wholesome reasons. There can be moments of wholesome consciousness when there is consideration of the teachings. And I think this fits in with the 4 factors that the Buddha gave for the development of the path, which we mention often, namely hearing the true Dhamma from associating with the wise persons, and then considering, reflecting on what has been heard, and this being a condition for the arising of awareness and understanding. So the treasurer also is not counting his own wealth. He's just performing a function of looking after the wealth that belongs to his employer. So there's a detachment there from the considering of what is happening at that time. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, sir. Con nghĩ đây là một cái vấn đề rất là quan trọng và rất là sâu sắc ạ. Không hề dễ để lãnh hội chút nào. Con chỉ hiểu thêm một chút xíu thôi. Dạ.
Yes, Mr. said that so this card is very important and very deep. I just got a little bit more understanding of the meaning of this card. Thank you.
Is this all about you or not you? We just talk about the 3 kinds of the one who study. Is this for you, about you, or not for you?
Câu hỏi cho chị Xuân Lan đấy ạ.
Dạ,
Otherwise,
dạ không
yeah,
Chan, không phải dành cho con ạ.
otherwise it's useless. But it's for everyone who doesn't know oneself clear enough. What kind of the studying for yourself, for your fame, or what, or to understand and to let go, defilement, the danger of akusa in life and so on, until becoming an arahata. Is that the point? Or just be sotapanna? Never be arahata? That's why just talk about anyone who study the teachings with some different purpose. Some just for once being satisfied with understanding the very difficult or very deep word, meaning of the word and so on, or just to understand the path to let go, ignorance and life no more, because actually it does not belong to anyone at all. And the more hearing, considering to be the treasure, so you have the words, the right words, the very precious word to give to the other. Otherwise, you have nothing to give at all. That's why just for anyone to consider oneself, to understand the point, to see the danger of the wrong way to study and so on. Just for everyone who reads. Is that true?
Yes, it's true, Achan.
So now, no doubt about the meaning of it. So very precious to remind this moment to be understood, the core, the fact, the truth of studying the teachings of the Buddha.
Cảm ơn chị Xuân Lan.
Thank you Chan.
Sẽ thêm.
No doubt anymore what is the word about this in Athasalini or any text. Just to understand, clarify the meaning, to have firm confidence all about what is there right now, so close.
Achan đang hỏi là có cái phân vân nào về ý nghĩa của những cái từ trong đoạn vừa rồi nữa không ạ?
Dạ phân vân, con thấy vẫn rất là khó với con ạ. Chan.
She said that yes, I still am not all clear yet about the meaning of these terms. It's very difficult for me.
But what about the meaning? About studying, about understanding, about the point of listening or reading the text. What for? Any moment can be treasure when there's understanding, to share with the other.
Ajahn,
The
may I-
word Bandha Garika, it also means like custodian, the one who takes care of, protects the teaching. So Ananda was the Bandha Garika, the custodian of the teaching, so that at the first council, he's the one that could recite them. So it's the same meaning, the one that takes care of or preserves the treasure so it can be shared by people from generation to generation, and only the arahats can do this. Only arahats are given this title, this word, the true preservers, because no more kilesa, no more defilements. So we share and preserve as best as we can, but the really true preservers, those who were invited to all the councils, were the arahats.
And right understanding from now on will develop to the degree of arahata. The words of arahata and the words of those who develop understanding from the very beginning is the same, but depending on the stages or the levels of understanding.
And so the main point each time, Suan Ban, is that it is the opposite of studying for oneself, for one to know more, for one to understand more, for one to have better fame, more knowledge, all for oneself. The true study is for letting go of I, letting go of clinging to oneself for the sake of understanding the truth.
Here, the sake of crossing over, the Pali word is Niparana Pariyati.
That's right.
Crossing over here means crossing over samsara.
Yeah, developing understanding, like in the raft, similarly, in order to understand the unconditioned, to eradicate the defilements, to let go of clinging stage by stage through development of understanding, satipatthana, vipassana, enlightenment. So eventually, no more becoming. So it is the development of the path that is being referred to. Without the development of the path, no crossing over. And it has to begin now, as Ajahn stressed, understanding now. No matter in the discussion or reading the book or watching the Olympics, it's now. Seeing is just seeing. Hardness touched is just hardness.
And Pariyati here means studying.
Well, as we know, the true pariyati has to be with understanding. So the first example they give of study, but with the aim of getting something, getting fame, getting requisites. So there may be some moments of understanding, but it's weak because the purpose is not for understanding of the truth. So someone may be listening now and really they would like to obtain more wealth or more fame, but still there is some study, some understanding developed, but it's weak because it's not the true purpose. Just like in the sutta about the 3 kinds of study for oneself, for society and what others think, and finally just for the sake of understanding. And they say for the sake of understanding is the best, but they don't say that there cannot be pariyatti understanding at the other times as well. But it's not the understanding that can lead to the eradication of defilements when it's all for the sake of oneself.
So when they say that, because it's the same word, it's pariyatti, and so the last one studying in a treasured position, so that it's already the arahatta. So even arahatta still keep listening. Actually, the work is already done, it's already finished. So when they say study in the position of the treasurer, what does that mean here for pariyatti?
So like Sariputta, Moggallana, and the great arahats, they still continue to listen to the Buddha, to develop more understanding, to appreciate more subtle points, even though the task has been done, kinasava, no more defilements at all. But for the sake of taking care of the treasure and sharing with others, continue to develop more and more understanding, because it's not the Buddha's understanding. But perhaps Ajahn would like to add more on these points.
Sorry, what point, please? Someone called me and just...
Yes, Tam was asking a question in these, when referring to these 3 kinds of study, the study of the one who is studying for worldly gains or other kinds of gains, the one that is studying for crossing over, and the arahat study the way of the treasurer. In each case, they use the word pariyatti. And I think her question, but Tam can correct me, was why the same word pariyatti is used when referring to the first one who's studying for the sake of benefits for oneself, and the third one when referring to the treasurer's study or preservation of the teachings.
So who's the one? See, who's the one? Everyone? Or me too? I too? Everyone? We talk about studying Dhamma, to be sincere to the purpose of listening. What for? To understand the truth of the word, which is so very deep and deeper and deeper and deeper. That's why there are those people who do not have such intention to understand for the sake of Dhamma, to realize the truth, but for the other conditions accumulated, for fame, for oneself, for no matter writing or author or whatever is there, each different by conditions accumulated. That's why one is the one who read about what Buddha said, about three kinds, all depends on understanding the very precious reality is understanding. And when there is understanding, not just for oneself at all, because understanding that the others should have such understanding too, as much as one can help, as much as one can do. That's the way of the third one. From the beginning to be arahata at the end, just for the sake of understanding, not just for oneself. That's all. No
The
matter.
can also be the one who has not the level of the hatha, even with some understanding, but yearn for the preservation of the Dhamma for the benefit of others, can be in a treasurer position as well, right?
So why does one study? To understand the truth. And since or once one has the understanding of it, does one see the precious and reality which one can share with the other, as one has been shared by those who have understood the truth. See, keep on for the others too. And this is uh, accumulated from moment of listening to moment of understanding more and more until being arhata. If there's no right point from the very beginning, how can it reach that stage? It doesn't mean that we have to follow the word, but the truth is that right understanding is no one, and it's so very precious. Should it be shared, like Buddha, have no idea of self or I or fame to concern at all are dhammas, and the most precious is understanding for everyone. And that is nekhamma too, dana too. Otherwise, there's no parami to condition the moment of enlighten the truth stage by stage, sotapanna, sakatagami, anagami, arahata. And what should life continue on as one has reached that degree, that level of understanding? Keep it or share it as we have been shared by the words of the teachings from those who understand the meaning. So it's not just for only those who are arahata, but before becoming arahata, see, it has to be developed to the degree to be arahata. So it's for all, for everyone to understand the truth. Stinginess is not just for something, but even for understanding too. Not stingy to share right understanding and the subtlety of dhammas. Before it can be realized, it has to develop uncountable life, uncountable moments, see, to let go, even wishing to realize what is there now or any time, no expectation. Otherwise, loba is there, ignorance is there, not understanding. It's not I who is now developing understanding to let go the ignorance and clinging and the I, and then on and on to other things until all akusala has been eradicated in uh, ultimately, never to arise again, to be the third kind of the person who study Dhamma, to understand the truth, to share it with the others. So very precious gift. So as much as one can do before becoming Arahata, sharing the best thing in life, the most precious reality in life, for those who begin to develop right understanding, implant the conditions to understand the truth. So it's not just someone, but everyone who understanding the purpose of studying and understanding the purpose of the Buddha to be, until the Buddha to be became enlightened, and best gift from him is the truth. So before becoming Arahata, one can have moments of kusala, pure and pure, because of understanding. So it's pure. So just is that true? That's all. Life goes on by conditions. And now there are conditions to understand, to share.
I'm inclined to think that the pariyatti that's used in these three examples is more like a conventional understanding, like studying the teachings. So studying the teachings like we think of it more conventionally, as a treasurer or for crossing over or for gain, rather than the pariyatti, the understanding leading to patipatti and then pativeda. So it's more of a conventional use, I think. But it's a good point to bring up again sometime.
Very good, very useful passage to study. Thank you, chị Xuân Lan. Cảm ơn chị Xuân Lan. Rất là thú vị được học từ trong đây.
And as Ajahn said, even when we read, this is the Arahat's understanding and study. But what about now? If there isn't a beginning now, then it will never be like that. So beginning now, the understanding has to be for understanding, not for getting something, knowledge for oneself, for example.
Yes, and may I have a question regarding the topic of Tina and Mida that in one of the recent discussions Humberto asked about. So we know that Tina Mida arise with Sansakharika Chitta, and it's usually translated as drowsiness. And we know that when there is sleepiness, Tina Mida is there. But we can think that because it arises with Chitta, Ucha, Sansakharika, so even when it seems that we are not sleepy, Tina Mida can be there as well. Right? And does that mean that all Sansakharika, but not all, but all Akusala Sansakharika Chitta arise with Tina Mida or not necessarily? So
Like now, moments when one's a little bored or sluggish or just not enough energy for kusala. So kusala virya, not kusala virya, so no concern for the others or too lazy to understand. Tina and Mida are there. I don't think we can say they always arise with sasankarika, citas rooted in lobha and dosa, but there can be a little more familiarity with them. In the text, like in one that I quoted for a friend on DSG, the sleepiness they particularly mention with regard to Mida, and they talk about Tina with regard to the Chitta and Mida with Mida with regard to the Chaitasikas. So some a little difference, but anyway, they arise together, but they always arise together. The Chitta and the Chaitasikas at that moment are sluggish for any kind of kusala. I think it's very, very common, even during a Dhamma discussion, even when watching TV, one's watching the Olympics or something, but too lazy to even think about it, and let alone for any kusala. So it's now in daily life, different moments. And as Ajahn stressed in the other discussion, we think of sasankarika as weak, and that is in this plane, the Kamavachara plane, when we're talking about upajanas, arupajanas. We cannot say that those citas are sasankarika or asankarika, and in the text they give the reasons for it. So each point, like sasankarika, is very fine, depending on the context and the realm of the citas. But just generally speaking, we can say now in this realm, when the citas are weak and there's laziness or sluggishness or sleepiness, no energy for kusala at all, Tina and Mida are there at those moments. Just the lobha mula citas or the dosa mula citas, not with just the moha mula citas without lobha or dosa.
So when there are some lobha mula citas, which are induced to arise, so asankarika for sure no Tina Mida, but when so when the chitta, the lobha mula chitta, is induced to arise, does that mean it always has Tina Mida or no? Sometimes not.
Like sometimes when I'm watching television, for example, there's some lobha there, but it's weak, and the virya isn't strong, and just sleepiness, sluggishness is there. Tina and Mida, very common. Or just when one's about to go to sleep and one lies on the bed and there's a lobha, but very dopey, very sluggish, Tina Mida with the lobha. It's daily life. But perhaps Ajahn can answer your questions a little more.
What is there now? See, even what is there now is something known or not anything known. That's why we learn about Citta and Cetasikas. So right now, when it's that time to understand the nature of one reality, which one would you like to experience? Tina, or Vitaka, or Manasikara, or Chivitindriya?
Tina, Ajahn.
Really? You will never experience it as long as you set your mind to experience Tina. It's Atta, not Anatta in that way. But learn to understand the subtlety of all kinds of realities. Chivitindriya, Vitaka, Manasikara, Viriya, Tina, Mita, all are very subtle because they are there, unknown as a reality. It's taken for me or I or someone all the time. And that is the way ignorance and attachment is always there, so powerful. But to let go, understanding that they cannot be known at will at all depends on conditions. Even one doesn't develop or try to concentrate or to aware of breath, but when time comes of realization, who knows what's the object? Would you like to experience Tina? Or what is that is experience? To understand the anotherness. That's why we talk about Dinamita. Would you like to experience it? Or just to understand the meaning of it like Virya? But in truth, what Chitta arises with Virya in a process, Manodavara Vajana, see, is Virya, with arises with Virya. Would you like to know Virya? All about doubt, all about craving, wanting, lurking at moment of what is it? What is it? It's a reality. It's a kusala. It's that when citta is so weak. See, it appears in a day very strong and with at the moment is weak. Is that right? And what makes it different? Without conditions, or there must be condition to be weak or strong, depending on what is there as conditions. Is that enough to understand and let go, clinging to what is there? That it's so certain that it cannot be realized with desire or wishing or wanting or craving at all. It is always an unexpected moment because all dhammas are anatta. With such understanding, it can be a moment of realizing, experiencing directly Tina, but not at will. And that is the only way by understanding the anatta so firm, all are anatta. See, that's the only way to let go ignorance and attachment. Without understanding the anatterness of reality, nothing can let go the idea of self and atta. I like, I try all the time. Even I now have dina or mita and mita. See, just understanding the difference in a day, but not that subtle reality, which is so very, very slight difference, like dina and mita. See, vitaka and vichara, and so on. So can there be the moment of realizing Tina when we try to understand it? It's only the idea or the thought about it. It's not like the moment when it's there appearing. So what degree that you would like to understand it? At will or by conditions?
By conditions, actually.
Then that's the only way to let go attachment and wrong, virya. Miccha vayamo. If it's not known, it's still conditioned and it hinders the progress of letting go or understanding it, the anotherness of all dhammas. It's stuck with ignorance and attachment, just wanting to understand it is not the way at all. The only way is letting go. And then it's so very surprising and unexpected at all. that what is there is by conditions only. What is now thought about is that which appear or do not appear depending on conditions. And what about Citta right now? Right now it's there. Even it's there. Its function, its characteristic is now not known yet. So what about what we heard and doubt about? And doubt is not there, only when it appears. And there will never be doubt again at the moment of enlightened truth. No doubt about reality. No matter it is Sina or Mita, they are the reality which experiences the object. No shape, no form at all. So when it's there, it is directly known very clearly, because understanding develops the understanding of the nature of it little by little, gradually, not of any particular one by will, but by conditions. And this understanding will let go the idea of self and ignorance and clinging to anything like dinamita. It's like clinging to dinamita now, unknown that it's clung already as the object of interest or attachment. It's so deep to understand attachment which is there, because it's always there, almost any moment, every moment in a day, in life, even right now. No doubt about attachment now, or doubt about Dina and Mita, by whom I or someone or sometime, by conditions unknown. Will it be object of interest to realize anymore? Or it doesn't matter at all? No matter it's Mita or whether it is Dina, it doesn't matter.
No way to know which one is Tina and which one is Mita.
Less and less, but so very little. Because it's always so enormous attachment, unknown, the moment when it's there. But right understanding only can understand the truth. The path stage by stage.
Thank you so much, Achan.
Yeah, Sadhika, everyone.